What's up, y'all? You're watching Union Minded. I'm your host, Eric, and today we are going to dive into an exclusive from Ken Klippenstein, who has talked to some of the friends of alleged Charlie Kirk assassin Tyler Robinson. Now, as we've all heard in the media, there's two narratives. One is that he's a far-right extremist. The other one is that he's a far-left extremist. And I've noticed that it's a lot of division around this, right? And who benefits from the division of the proletariat? It's the most wealthiest folks in the world that benefit from all of the working folks constantly fighting with each other and constantly arguing with each other and never really getting along. And so narratives are being pushed. And it makes sense if you're in that 1% club. It makes sense to accept these false narratives. Several things came out recently. I mean, the text message thread that came out that the FBI released doesn't even sound like a real conversation between two real people. It sounds like a very bad script. And I'm not the only one saying that. Folks on the left are saying that. Folks on the right are saying that. I watched a video with Candace Owens where she said, I'm not buying it. Steve Bannon has said, I'm not buying it. A lot of people are sitting there saying they're not buying it. And I, for one, I'm also not buying it. Far too convenient. If you've read the text threads, the text thread that was released between the conversation between Tyler and his boyfriend, if she's a trans woman, then girlfriend. If it's a gay man, then boyfriend. If you read that text thread, it's just too convenient. Too many holes that are in the investigation are plugged up real nicely and conveniently in that text thread. So I'm not buying that. I'm dismissing that for now. We'll see if it can be corroborated and proven. But for right now, that seems like a bad script. However, Ken Klippenstein has come across the Discord server chat and has screen grabs from the conversations, and he's also interviewed a childhood friend of Tyler Robinson. And this is a story that you're not going to see in the mainstream media. You'll see it if you're getting your media independently. You'll see it because it's been covered by quite a few folks. But I want to bring it to you guys because here at the Union Minded channel, we believe that the fight is not left and right. The fight is up and down. And it takes solidarity to win always. And so when they're sitting there fracturing us yet again, fracturing us, I want to see what's real and what's not real. And I was surprised when I read this article. I think you'll be surprised when you hear what's in it. So let's dive in. This came out yesterday. Exclusive, leaked messages from Charlie Kirk assassin. Accused shooter's politics is not what the government and the media say. By the way, I gotta say that I too fall victim sometimes to emotional thinking. I too fall victim sometimes to narratives that come out, and we have to be open to challenging ourselves and what we think is real when new information is presented. This is one of those cases. So I gotta stand here and say I got it wrong too. I got it wrong too. But you have to be able to acknowledge when you were wrong in a thought process that you had when new information comes around. So let's dive in. Quote, "Hey guys, I have bad news for you all. It was me at UVU yesterday." Thus, Tyler Robinson messaged his friends on Discord, seemingly apologizing for murdering Charlie Kirk. "I'm sorry for all of this. I obtained this and other Discord chats I've decided to publish. The legacy news media, as usual, refuses. Along with new information I've learned about Robinson from people who knew him best." And this is one of the screen grabs from September 10th. It says, this is in the group chat on Discord. "Charlie Kirk got shot. Dead. I just saw the video. Holy shit. Rest in peace, I guess. Bro didn't deserve to go out like that." Then this is Tyler's response. "Hey guys, I have bad news for you all. It was me at UVU yesterday. I'm sorry for all of this. I'm surrendering through a sheriff friend in a few moments. Thanks for all the good times and laughs. You've all been so amazing. Thank you all for everything." Now, Trump and company portray the alleged Utah shooter as left-wing and liberals portray him as right-wing. The federal conclusion will inevitably be that he was a so-called nihilist, violent extremist. Meanwhile, the crackdown has already begun. As I reported yesterday, the country is practically ready to go to war. Quote, "It's been so terrible, and seeing it from an inside perspective is so frustrating," a friend of Robinson's since middle school told me. The childhood friend, who asked not to be named for fear of threats, provided me with the above non-public photo of Robinson on a camping trip, a favorite activity of his, to corroborate their relationship. Quote, "I think the main thing that's caused so much confusion is that he was always generally apolitical for the most part," the friend told me. "That's the big thing. He just never really talked politics, which is why it's so frustrating." The picture that emerges bears little resemblance to the media version. Robinson, I am told, though quiet, was a well-liked person with a supportive family. The friend group who he interacted with on Discord, far from some kind of militia camp or Antifa bunker it's been portrayed as, represented a range of different political views, but mostly they talked video games. Yesterday, FBI Director Kash Patel said in an interview that Robinson subscribed to left-wing ideology, citing his family's remarks to investigators. But those close to Robinson say there was a lot his family didn't know about him. Quote, "Their ideas are based on someone they didn't fully understand," a childhood friend told me. Though the family was generally supportive of Robinson, a claim corroborated by his mother's Facebook account, they didn't seem to know about his relationship with a transgender person named Lance, the friend said. When I asked if his family would have been accepting, the friend replied, "I don't think even Tyler knew the answer to that question, which is why he kept it so low-key between themselves." Tyler's bisexuality, the friend said, was coupled with openness on LGBT issues. But it wasn't some cookie-cutter lefty position on every or even most issues, his friends say. Obviously, he's okay with gay and trans people having a right to exist, but also believes in the Second Amendment, the friend said, referring to the right to bear arms. The friend described Robinson as fairly typical of a young man his age from Utah, someone who loved the outdoors, was a gamer, and into guns. To all of us, he just seemed like a simple guy who liked playing games like Sea of Thieves, Deep Rock Galactic, and Helldivers 2, loved to fish and loved to camp, the friend said. It really did seem like that's all he was about. Here's another screen grab, and it was a picture of Helldivers 2 and a YouTube clip. "One step closer to finding the DRG dwarves." That's from Tyler into the group. The phrase inscribed on one of the bullet casings from the shooting, "Hey fascist, catch," though wildly reported to mean he was a man of the left, is in fact a reference to the Helldivers 2 game. 3 arrows initially believed by federal agents to be a reference to Antifa are also a reference to Helldivers. Private Discord messages shared with me by a friend of Robinson's confirm that Robinson wasn't some political martyr. A search for posts of Robinson's containing keywords like Biden and Trump turned up just 1 hit each. The Trump post was a passing reference to the 2019 impeachment inquiry. The Biden one came on the day of the 2020 election, where he provided an update to another friend asking about the status of the vote count. So, September 25th, 2019, Tyler posts, "An impeachment inquiry has been placed against Donald Trump. He could get booted out if they find he committed the shit he's accused of." Then, on November 3rd, 2020, he was asked, "Who is winning the election? You would know." He writes, "Biden is in the lead electoral votes wise, but there are still some swing states that haven't finished voting, as well as most of the West Coast. Raw votes, Donald is in the lead by a little over 1 million votes. Who is probably going to win, they ask. He says, I'm not sure. When will we know? Not until pretty late, but we should have a pretty good idea by the end of the night, unless it's really close or something." Then they ended it with K. The childhood friend is a member of multiple Discord chats with Robinson. He described the group as trying to grapple with Robinson's motive, just like everyone else. Even the goodbye message he sent in one of our servers where Discord chats are hosted was so hard to believe. We all just thought, what a weird joke to make. Then the news came out and we all were calling each other saying, check the news. He said, yeah, I don't know what makes a person like him decide he's going to drive 260 miles upstate to shoot someone like Charlie Kirk, then come back like nothing happened. It leaves a lot of room for speculation and theories, which is why I think they're so rampant. End the quote. Part of the confusion he attributes to Tyler's quiet nature. He was a really smart guy, but super hard to read. Stone cold poker face. And you could always never be confident assuming anything. When I asked if he opened up to anyone, the friend replied, as far as we knew, he was opened up, meaning he didn't keep secrets. As far as they knew, he was forthcoming and talked about himself. Despite his verbal reticence, Robinson was not a loner, according to his friends. Unlike the stereotypical outcast shooter driven to violence by social rejection, he was apparently amiable and well-liked. Everyone who knew him liked him, and he was always nice, a little quiet, and kept to himself mostly, but wasn't a recluse, the childhood friend said. Quote, regardless of the horrible actions that took place, we must take this moment to remember that God is a living God who loves all of his children. A Discord post from another friend posted the day after the shooting reads, while Charlie Kirk's politics were not acceptable to some, I ask that we all say a prayer for him and his family during these confusing times. Then there's another screen grab from the Discord, and it says, hey everyone, if you have not seen the news yet, Tyler's post above it, true. He was taken into custody earlier today for the shooting of Charlie Kirk. Regardless of the horrible actions that took place, we must take this moment to remember that God is a living God, a living and loving God who loves all his children. God calls sinners to be his saints, and I ask that you all take a quiet moment to pray for Tyler and his repentance. While Charlie Kirk's politics were not acceptable to some, I ask that we all say a prayer for him and his family during these confusing times. Love you all, God bless. That doesn't sound like a radical left group. Quote, that the last message is religious in nature, which just goes to show the apolitical nature of the server. We all have pretty differing views on politics, the friend said on the Discord post. We all just exist as friends and just play stuff. Cat memes, weather updates, home improvement, and the odd Garfield reference populate Robinson's posts. I'm going to eep pretty soon. Very eepy, he said in one post. An intentionally silly way of misspelling the word sleep. This is a common Gen Z conversation. Then they show some more screen grabs, and it has weather, it has a cat meme, it has a picture of snow outside. There's one that says, had to replace a monitor that was on a wall mount. The top two mounting points needed to have a standoff, but the person who did the initial install didn't have them, so they just stacked like 8 washers to make the connection. So this wasn't some radical group that was, oh, we really got to do something. It wasn't that. The federal government, the Washington crowd, and corporate media see the country in wholly partisan terms. Republican versus Democrat, red versus blue, old media versus social media, liberal versus conservative, right versus left, straight versus gay, and on and on. Charlie Kirk's assassination in Utah should remind us of the actual diversity of the nation and of the cost of polarization that demonizes the other side. No one in Robinson's group is cheering or justifying the murder in any of the messages that I reviewed. They're just struggling to understand what their friend did. But Washington has become obsessed with the Discord chat, convinced it's some kind of headquarters for the murder and cauldron of radicalization and conspiracy. Today, FBI Director Patel vowed to investigate anyone and everyone in that Discord chat. What I see is a bunch of young people shocked, horrified, and searching for answers, like the rest of the country. This is a story you will not get on the mainstream media. And it paints a different picture than the one that is being painted for us by the establishment, by the administration. And so I would caution everybody to take everything with a grain of salt. Take a pause. If you're feeling emotional about something and it's driving you to an emotion, whatever that emotion is, question that piece of information, because a lot of times it's designed to have that impact on you. That's all I got for you guys. My name is Eric. You're watching Union Minded. Please remember that the fight is not left and right. It's up and down. It's going to take solidarity to win always. Each one teach one, get out there and reach one. And remember, there could be no union without you and I front and center. So let's go. Peace.